you can fall. Shaitan is your enemy. So the Prophet is telling everybody, but use the term mu'min so that people could understand nobody's free from this and stay away from it. Inna qalba mu'min, the heart here of the Muslim. But also, in the qalba mu'min is not saying that the one who's not a mu'min or even a Muslim is absolved from this. This is any human being. But of course, the Prophet is only talking about the Muslim because the heart of the kafir in most cases is already sealed from their disbelief, from their sins, from their denial, while we are not like that. We have some level of acceptance. That's why, again, you're a Muslim. So the Prophet said, Inna qalb al-mu'min idha athnaba dhanban. When the Muslim does a sin, he gets a black spot on his heart. وَإِذَا تَابَ. We said taba means you return to what Allah loves. Toba is the action. Taba, past tense. Toba is the thing. Taba, past tense verb. Toba is a thing that you do. Taba, he did it past tense. The Prophet said, Ida taba. But if that person, and look at the language, what Ida taba, the Prophet is talking in past tense language. But if he repented, because how many times we say, I repented? But then you wait and see. Is the repentance sincere? Is it true? Is it false? Is it fake? The Prophet said, وَإِذَا تَابَ. And if that person repented. They said taba, rujur. Rujur means to return. Raja'a, to return. Raja'a min al-hajj. He returned from Hajj. Raja'a min al-dukani. He returned from the store, the shop. Raja'a min al-kufr ila al-imani. He left kufr back to iman. Raja'a. This is the meaning of Tawbah, linguistically. When you hear the ulama talk about Tawbah, they said, ay ruju ilallah, means return back to Allah. What do they mean? You die. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi mada raji'un. You're going back to Allah. It don't mean that. It means you return back to what Allah loves of actions. Because when you disobey Allah, kharaja an ta'a, you leave from the abode of obedience. This is the meaning of ma'asiyah. Kharuj an ta'a. Kharuj, to go out. The exit sign. Kharuj. An ta'a, away from obedience. How do you make tawbah? Raja'a ila ta'a. You go back to obedience. This is the meaning of tawbah, linguistically. The Prophet said, وَإِذَا تَابَ. If he left badness and went back to what Allah loves. وَنَزَعَ. And he took, naza'a really means to take off, like to abandon. وَنَزَعَ. He abandoned that bad deed. Takfara. And wastaghfara, we said wastaghfara. Wastaghfara. The word ghaffara. To be a person who's asking for forgiveness. Ghaffara, he's making forgiveness. Oh Allah, forgive me. Istighfar. I'm going to pronounce it and make a mistake in pronounce. Istighfar with the ra. Wastaghfara. You have a wastaghfara. Here the alif, sin and ta. Was. The word is ga with a gain. Ghaffara. Gain, fa, ra. Where do we get the extra letters? The wa is adding something that you need to do to get the heart back white and clean. Alif is the first letter that's added. Sin is the second letter that's added in ta. Was sta. Is sta. You have an alif, sin, and a ta. Istighfar. So here the Prophet is saying that person is seeking forgiveness, meaning you're searching for forgiveness. Now imagine you lost your watch. You lost your keys. Please don't lose your device. Phone this dance. Are you going to look once and say, I didn't find it? I'm not going to work. I didn't see it over there. It's okay. I don't need it. My phone, I looked already. I'm not going to. You're going to keep looking until you find it. You might tear the house up. Dirty clothes bag under the bed. The same thing. You're not going to say, I asked the Lord to forgive me. You did it once and you're done. You're going to keep doing it. This is the meaning of what's stuck for her. She's constantly seeking Allah's forgiveness. When you do that, the Prophet said, then the black spots go away. The black spots go away. So this, the hadith Abu Hurairah mentioned. Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah mentioned it down the line. Why am I mentioning it first? Because this, wallahi, is the issue that we struggle with. We don't understand the effect of sins on the heart. To the point that there may be a sickness in the cure, we won't even take the cure. Why? Because we think we're okay. We don't understand that, the sins have an effect on the heart. So we sin. Allah will stop. So this, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, longer versions, different wordings, and the Prophet ﷺ said, بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. And Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah mentioned this from Surah Al-Mutaffifin. Allah said, no, they're doing wrong, their disobedience is because of the ran ala qulubihim, the taint, the blackness on their heart, مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, because of what they used to do. They inherit this effect on the heart from their sins. So this, 3 points. Return back to what Allah loves. Number 2, you leave the sin while you're doing what Allah loves. And you're constantly seeking the forgiveness of Allah. Like the Prophet ﷺ used to say, 70 times a day at least. Or 100 times, or more. And these are the meanings of the hadith, that he sought Allah's forgiveness and repented to Him. And the Prophet didn't do major sins. He's still repenting, seeking Allah's forgiveness. What about us? So this, I'm bringing first, and then we'll go back and show Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book, a man came to the Shaykh and he was plagued with his sins. He wants to be free from being saturated with sins. It's taken over his life. He realizes, if I die like this, my whole life existence will be in vain, and then I'm going to have nothing in the hereafter but punishment. Help me with this. Shaykh, tell me, what can I do? So Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah wrote this book to answer the man. Rather than telling him something or telling him a short thing and the man still doesn't have what he needs, the Shaykh wrote a book. This is the book. And the Shaykh was lengthy so that the person cannot be without a solution, because he's bringing ayat, hadith, narration, example. As they say, an oxymoron could understand this. I mean, the Shaykh is like, he really wants you to have the medicine that you need. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to have no excuse the way he wrote this book. So that person he mentioned to the Shaykh, he said, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, man kana on Allah abdihi, man kana on abdihi, yani akhi, or kama qal, that Allah will not leave you. Allah will always help a human, always help the servant, so as long as the servant is helping his brother. That the Shaykh already knew. But imagine, he quotes that to the Shaykh. It's like saying, you have to, by Allah, you have to help me. So the Shaykh wrote a book. And Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah, this book, from that time to now, people are still studying that book, benefiting from that book, to the point that we're studying it and going over it now. Imagine all of those people from Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah's time to now, subhanAllah. And Shaykh Abdul Razak, he said he believes that man's question, this is very profound. He said, I believe that man's question to the Shaykh was sincere. Because sometimes we ask questions, we really not sincere. We want to, just be seen, heard, or, everybody else is asking, let me ask too. Or, I want to ask because I want to see if he knows this. I read this in the book. He's supposed to have knowledge. He should know it too, right? Just show him up. A'udhu billah. Yeah, you have all of the stuff. You want to ask, but you really don't want the answer, but you want to seem sincere. See, I asked. I'm trying. Shaykh Abdul Razak said, no, I believe the man was sincere because look at the barakah. Look at the thamra, the fruits of his question. All of these people benefit from a book that was written because that man asked a question about himself. Not, I know a sister, I know a brother like we do. No, what about yourself? I have a problem. How can I fix my problem? That's tremendous. That's courage. That's sincerity. Inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. And so this is why the Shaykh wrote the book. And in the beginning, we won't mention all the various hadith. We'll just mention just some of them. Where the Shaykh, he mentioned, مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ دَعَا إِلَّا مَعَهُ دَوَاءً. Kama qala, the Prophet authentically said, Allah does not send down any type of sickness or ailment or cure. Allah does not send down any type of sickness, ailment, or calamity except He sends down along with it what can raise it, what can take that thing away, what you can do when that thing happens to you. Allah sends them down both. He also mentioned that the Prophet said, "Alimahu man alima, jahalahu man jahala." Whoever gains that knowledge, Allah gave that knowledge to that person, then he knows it. Doesn't mean other people have to know it necessarily. And whoever Allah didn't give the knowledge to, doesn't mean the knowledge is not on earth. Because the Prophet said, Allah sent it down with the calamity, with the sicknesses, with the diseases, but sometimes it's withheld from individuals. And Shaykh Abdul Razak, he said, how many times that we go to the doctor? Now this is when it becomes contextual for us. We go to the doctor. The doctor said, looks like you have lupus. You go to the doctor said, I think you have a problem, it seems to be bronchitis. You go to the doctor says, I think, you have a fracture. But you just feel like bronchitis? All I have is asthma. Leukemia? A fracture? Nah, I might sprain my ankle, but a fracture? You get a second opinion from another doctor. I said, no, that doctor was wrong. Here's the x-rays, here's the MRI, here's the blood work, here's the proof you have this and not that. That doctor misdiagnosed you. How many times? And sometimes you could tell the doctor, listen, you might be the doctor, but I know my body. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just a little bit under the weather. I don't have, COVID virus, for example. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Oh, you have COVID, take the shot. Allahumma musta'an. So this is what Solomon is saying. Whoever knows it, Allah taught it to him. He knows it. Whoever doesn't know it, Allah didn't give him the knowledge, but Allah sent it down. Allah sent it down. Now, and there's some other narrations, but the point is made from those narrations that we bring, that Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah brought in this book. The Shaykh also mentioned, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, that when we think about sicknesses, we normally think about physical sicknesses. Physical sicknesses. But said that Allah mentioned that the Quran, huwa shifa, lima fi sudur. It's a cure for what's in the heart. Allah also said, huwa shifa'u wa rahma lil mu'minin. It's a cure and a mercy for the believer. So one is particular to the heart. Sudur means chest. But Allah is using sudur to talk about curing the heart with the Quran. Then in the other one, Allah said, shifa wa rahma. Shifa'u is general. He didn't say what. So it could be a cure for disbelief, because you don't think about the Quran curing disbelief. It could be a cure for lying. You don't think about Quran being a cure for lying. It could be a cure for hypocrisy. But don't think about the Quran curing hypocrisy. It could be a cure from, pain when you get injured physically, like we'll see in the hadith that's coming up. So many things. So this point, that Shaykh he makes next, that when you think about sicknesses, we normally think about physical, but here